Alright, so peace, guys. Today we're gonna be talking about generational trauma in the black community. Alright, so just for a little context, this is a presentation I did in school. I just wanted to bring the facts, and the insights to YouTube. You feel me? So we're gonna be looking at it through, as y'all can see, the psychological implications, cultural trauma, and emotional dysregulation. I got a little laptop sitting behind y'all, so if y'all see me clicking and stuff, I'm clicking through the slides. Alright, so as you can see, statistically speaking, according to Bennett College News, 63% of black people view mental health as a personal weakness. 67% of white people reported feeling open to discussing their mental health issues, as 12.5% of black people reported feeling open to discussing their mental health issues. Okay, so as I can see, the statistics don't lie. Numbers don't lie. Humans, men and women lie. Numbers don't lie, right? And then why is this important? Why is this important for us to notice? Because if we don't care about our mental health, if we think that is lame, if we think that is weak, if we think that okay, it's not imperative to take care of it, don't matter, then you got this vast number of majorities and the other races, right, that take care of their mental health while we're struggling. And we could see that in society today. You got all types of things. You got rappers like Lil RT sitting around rapping about sucking dick, making money, fucking hoes. Bro, you ain't hit puberty yet, bro. You feel me? And that's what we talking about. The 12.5% of black people that reported feeling open, while the 63% view it as a personal weakness, right? It's not weak to take care of yourself, guys. It's not weak to be healthy, guys. It's not weak to actually care about your mental health because as above, so below. So if you weak mentally, you weak physically, man. You feel me? If you weak physically, you weak mentally, man. They go hand in hand. Alright, so post-traumatic events such as racism and discrimination in the black community causes issues such as PTSD and emotional dysregulation. Therefore, it is crucial for the black community to be aware of their traumas and acknowledge them so they can begin to heal through methods including trauma-informed therapy, yoga, meditation, and other forms of assistance, right? But you know, nobody really wanna be into that. But I'm gonna tell y'all why it's imperative to be into that today. So we're gonna be looking at it through the psychological implications, okay? As y'all can see, the psychological implications of racism and discrimination on black people is that slavery and racial discrimination left a lasting effect on the survivors with a psychological impact, right? The symptoms of slavery and discrimination became an acquired behavior among descendants of these survivors, right? Acquired behavior among descendants of these survivors. I'm gonna say it again for you motherfuckers in the back. Acquired behavior among descendants of these survivors. Meaning, as we already know, right? Memories passed down through DNA, right? So if it's a trauma that my mother, so for example, if my mother was scared of dogs and she never got over that trauma, I may be born and every time I see a dog, I may be a little frightened or I may be a little, on alert, right? Flight or fight mode, or flight or fight mode, right? But I'm not aware of why, right? It's that generational trauma, right? When it become an acquired behavior among descendants of these survivors. So this is why it's imperative to heal yourself. This is why it's imperative to work on yourself. Because if not, you're gonna pass some traumas onto your kids. You feel me? And nobody wanna be at a quote unquote disadvantage just due to our genetics not being, access like our parents should have accessed them. You get what I'm saying? And so I'm gonna show you guys. I'm gonna say some evidence that I have on this PowerPoint. Um, I'm gonna just flip the camera. All right, as you guys can see, I have evidence for these sites that I visited, and here are the artists. The authors of the sites and the year that it was published. Right. So mind you, we still talking about psychological implications. Okay. So back to the evidence. Right. Even when trying to become aware of the trauma, it may lead people to feel helplessness, though frustrated, will stop trying to change their circumstances. But they have to keep persevering, right? It may be a struggle for you to be aware of this trauma. Nobody said it's going to be easy, but it has to be done, right? You're not responsible for the trauma that you go through, but you are responsible for the healing that you need to go through to heal that trauma. I'm gonna say it again. You're not responsible for the trauma that you go through, but you are but you are responsible for healing the trauma that you go through, right? All right, so the second piece of evidence. Many may argue that slavery was so long ago that it doesn't leave much of an impact on the black community. But studies show that the trauma of enslavement has been carried down by African American through the ages, right? And this go back to the thing that I was saying about memories being passed down through the DNA. We already know that's 100% fact. All right, so now we're gonna be talking about culture trauma, right? The loss of cultural identity. Now we can obviously see this in the black community, right? We don't really have no culture no more. They took all our culture away. The only thing people may say, oh, gang culture. That's not culture, bro. That is not culture. That is brainwashing. That's a form of white supremacy. You get what I'm saying? Because they brainwash you to think, okay, I'm a nigga. All I know is sagging my pants. You get what I'm saying? Oh, I got these locks. I got these tattoos. I'm a thug. Nah, you's a god. You feel me? You's a god. You gotta walk like you a god, or else you're a nigga. What they don't know won't hurt them. So they hate a nigga with some intellect. Let's go back to it. So cultural trauma, loss of cultural identity. Traumatic events make people question their roles, goals, and values and beliefs, right? So you may be going through something to with a point that you lose your sense of being. You're not even aware of your role in society no more. You lost. You have no purpose. All right, right? So we back to the evidence. I have to make it full screen for y'all. All right, so slavery has culturally led to cultural dislocation. For many African Americans, which happens when someone's forced to leave their homeland due to conflict, this can lead to feelings of loss and isolation that can be passed down through generations. Look at my cat, yo. That can be passed down through generations, you feel me? And so this is what happened to us with the so-called African Americans, but really know we're the indigenous natives of this land. This is what happened to us. We were forced to leave our homeland. Or so we think. We were forced to leave our languages. We were forced to leave our culture. We were forced to leave our rituals and traditions, right? Which has led to cultural dislocation. We can see it now. Now you got quote unquote African American, indigenous natives, thinking they're fucking niggas and they sagging their pants all day, smoking black and mouths, thinking they're nothing more than nothing less. You got quote unquote African American females, goddesses, thinking they bitches and they strippers and all they is some ass and titties, right? This is what happens when you have things like slavery and racial discrimination. All right, here we go. Language impacts of slavery causes so much confusion about inherited genetic habits. As memory of slavery, cultural trauma emerges as an important discursive resource for identity formation within a black collective. Even many African Americans confused about their cultural background and history. I'm gonna let that speak for itself. There's no reason for me to dive into that. You guys can see that and see for the facts. I want you guys to also, you can look up these pieces of evidence for yourselves and go on these websites. These are the authors, and this is the year the site would be under, right? You don't take nothing for face value. I want you guys to research for y'all have your own souls, right? So it's imperative for y'all to do your own research. We're going to talk about emotional dysregulation now, right? What is emotional dysregulation? Emotional dysregulation is a disorder of the body's ability to regulate and manage emotions, right? Due to generational trauma, it's common for emotional dysregulation to run in African American families, right? All right, here we go. Like I said, look this up for yourself too. Don't just take anything at face value. So the emotional regulation is beyond simply not having control of your emotions. It's a transdiagnostic risk factor for many health disorders that develop in the context of early trauma exposure. Experts suggest that when emotional dysregulation occurs, there is a reduction in certain neurotransmitters' ability to function as emotional brakes, causing you to remain in a prolonged fight or flight response. This is what I was talking about earlier, right? If you're living in a fight or flight response 24/7, right, which is what trauma and honestly a lot of what living in the hood, that's what it does to you. It keeps you in a state of fight or flight, right? Always aware of your surroundings. Always, oh, I gotta look behind my back. Can never just be chill. Can never just relax, right? I mean, honestly, as a man, I feel as though you always gotta be aware of your surroundings 24/7. However, being in the stage of fight or flight response is not healthy because what does it do? Is a reduction in certain transmitters' ability to function as emotional brakes. So it literally a problem in your brain when you're constantly in a fight or flight response, right? This is why it's imperative to heal your trauma. This is why it's imperative to be aware of your trauma. This is why it's imperative to be like, okay, I am feeling this way. I am traumatized from this. It's okay. The first step to change is acceptance. The second step to change is once you accept it, now, okay, what can I do to fix this issue, right? You guys never want to stay in a state of flight or fight response. It is not healthy. Alright, so now since we talked about all this stuff, right? Emotional dysregulation, cultural trauma, psychological implications, statistics, right? Now what, right? I'm gonna list some solutions I have for you guys, right? Stated in my PowerPoint, and I'm gonna just read the whole thing for you guys. Intergenerational trauma can be minimized through coping mechanisms like maintaining healthy routines. You are what you eat, like I said, as above, so below. Whatever you feed your gut, it is going to directly impact your psyche. You feel me? Like maintaining healthy routines, social support, and cultural identity. Social support, such as having people that's there to support you and having people that's going through the same thing. Furthermore, the black community needs to learn how to recognize, acknowledge, and accept their trauma. There's nothing wrong with having trauma. We gotta learn to accept it. We gotta be able to and be willing to work with one another so that they can access trauma-informed therapy, yoga, and other resources in order to heal, which is the stuff I mentioned earlier. All right, so yeah, I basically went through all the statistics. I basically went through my whole slide, but I just wanted to tell you guys and present to you what it's like to have this trauma, the different ways that it can impact your psyche, you as a person, and your culture that you're involved with, your emotions, and your ability to handle your emotions. I honestly feel as though it's a lot of black kids in the community. I feel like a lot of kids, period, but a lot of I'm only speaking for my community right now. You feel me? There's a lot of kids in my community specifically that don't have the ability to regulate their emotions. It's fucking ridiculous. I don't care if you're a young kid or whatever the case is. You don't have the ability to regulate your fucking emotions, right? And so this is from unhealed trauma. Right? It's imperative for you guys to be aware of this trauma, right? Because if you're hurt, I'm hurt because you're a part of my community. I'm a part of your community, and we are each other. You're a reflection of me. I'm a reflection of you, right? It don't matter if you're half black. It don't matter if you mixed. It don't matter if you coming from a suburb. I'm a part of you, you're a part of me. We share the same DNA. We don't have any Neanderthal DNA like a Caucasians, okay? We don't have that, right? We're gods in the flesh. Although a lot of us, right, for me example, I know along my bloodline, I have a white grandmother that's German, right? So we do, a lot of us are mixed up in a bloodline, but what I'm saying, I'm primarily what? What would they consider me? You see my locks, you feel me? You see my skin, they're gonna consider me a nigga, right? So this is why this is important, right? And at 12.5%, hopefully this video help us get to at least 50%, right? 67%, 12.5%.